Seriously, more economists were born in this country in 2016 after the day of demonetization than the number of economists ever produced in this country by the economic schools in India. Similarly, post-RERA, there have been a tremendous amount of RERA consultants that have mushroomed everywhere. I'm glad we have the best of them sitting on this panel, and believe me, you'll take a lot back today. So please give all of these illustrious gentlemen a big round, please. How many of you have seen a movie called Dunkirk? Raise your hands. The Oscar winner, Dunkirk. So when Christopher Nolan, the maverick, the genius, the Oscar winner made this movie and I saw it, it's all about one scene where they are escaping and the attack, the war is by land, by sea, and by air. A similar threefold tsunami, earthquake, and volcano hit our real estate industry in the last couple of years in terms of demonetization, RERA, and GST. And that movie made me think of this, and we must thank Sumant Reddy and the whole of HRA for producing this event and insight into RERA. Sirs, with due respect, you would have met a lot of serious professional moderators, and I'm not one of them. I am more the fun guy for the simple reason I actually, like I told my wife on a subject, let us discuss sensibly. And my wife replied, sorry, I will not do that. Every time I discuss sensibly, I lose. And that is what happens with most wives. Now, why am I saying this joke here? Because this is literally the story that becomes sometimes with the government and RERA, where there is no discussion. This is it. And I think that is where we are going to take it forward. I think on second thoughts, I'll continue from here. So we will start with Dr. Rao, and you being at the illustrious slot that you are, and guiding the government, my first question to you would be, what is it that you see as a larger perspective that's coming in the future days for the realtors, and how will they have to be organized both at the state level and at the country level?
Thank you and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really very happy to be here this afternoon. I think it was, I think about a year and a half back or maybe 2 years back when HRA had invited me, and it was in another place, much smaller gathering, when we had a very detailed discussion on this Real Estate Regulatory Act, what RERA is all about, what are the various provisions and so on and so forth. I think the larger picture, as the moderator has just now asked me, is can we move to a regime of organized real estate in this country? That is the very big question that has been hovering around for a very, very long time. I must talk about NAR India here, because when NAR India started about 10 years back, the basic objective of starting this association and then several associations in various other parts of the country was, can we organize real estate, whether it is the transaction business, whether it is the construction business, or whatever. So the larger question is organized realty, and particularly in the transaction business, because when you talk about consumers, the first person who talks to the consumer is the realtor, the real estate broker. So therefore he becomes an extremely important first link in the entire chain of the real estate process. The building is of course there, the financiers are of course there, but then the first phase of the real estate industry, in my opinion, is the real estate broker, the realtor. And how can we put that business together in a proper manner? So for a very long time, people are not aware, in our country, RERA has come only about a year back. The final roll down came on the 1st of May 2017. So RERA is now through 1 year plus in this country. but regulation in the real estate sector has been in existence for much longer duration. In fact, for the first time, brokers were regulated in the state of Punjab. Many people are probably not aware. When there was a legislation way back in the 70s, nothing much could be done there. Then, almost 15 years back, we had a real estate regulation act only in the city of Delhi. But that also did not really see the light of the day. And for a very long time, many people in the industry have been saying that, look, we are good boys and we can regulate ourselves and we don't need a regulator and we will self-regulate ourselves. That also did not cut much ice with the consumer fora in this country. And with the liberalization policy, we had so many entrants into various businesses, whether it is civil aviation, whether it is telephony and so on. And with more and more private players in any business, you need to have a regulator. And the real estate sector, of course, is no exception. So therefore, finally, we had to have a regulator in the real estate business. The larger picture, as you have asked me, is basically to organize and to regulate. And essentially, that is the reason why we are all here. And that is the reason why this legislation has been brought in the first place.
I think we want to ask short questions, listen to each of the panelists, ask a few more, and the more questions should really come from the audience. So let's make it an interactive session. But before I move to the next panelist, my wife is actually a very firm Vastu Shastra believing person. When she is angry, she picks up any Vastu and uses it like a Shastra to throw it on me. So I don't know if RERA will be able to resolve our Vastu Shastra issues, but let me come to Mr. S. Devendar Reddy, who's the CCP for GHMC. From Telangana perspective, what is in it for the developers and for the real estate consultants fraternity, especially NAR, HRA members, that would come in that's different from the rest of the country, that would be fine-tuned because there are experiences?
Distinguished experts on the dais, especially my batchmate and classmate Dr. P.S.N. Rao, and all real estate fraternity members, for everyone, Swacha Namaskar. So as I said, from the GHMC, whenever we start, whenever we greet with Swacha Namaskar. So it also tells about the importance of the making our surroundings clean. So that is set apart. Coming back to the RERA, Telangana state, slightly we were behind other states in actually implementation of the RERA. There was a small committee which was constituted consisting of Director of Town and Country Planning, Chief City Planner GHMC and Chief City Planner HMDA. So this committee inspected 2 states, basically Mumbai, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Mumbai and Bangalore, we visited both the cities where the RERA implementation is in slightly in advanced stage. So we studied both the systems, so plus and minus, positive and negative sides of both the systems. So finally we came with a system which is much more closer to the Bombay system, Bombay RERA, I can say. So we have requested Maha Online, actually the Maha Online agency which has developed the RERA portal for Mumbai. They are in process of developing the portal. We have already, test check has been done. So hopefully by July 15th or maximum by July end, so the Telangana RERA portal will be ready for registration of both for the projects and also for the real estate agents. So this is as far as the progress is concerned. But the focus from the Telangana state, what we are looking at the registration is that very less of bureaucracy. That means we want either the project owners or project entrepreneurs and the real estate agents to declare themselves. It's more like a self-certification. So there is no regulation as part from the, either from RERA or from any other agency which is connected with RERA. Unless there is any specific complaint or any grievances produced or raised by some purchaser, then the RERA authority will come into the picture. So, as I said, RERA will not be a burden on any one of you. It will be much more very simple one. So, as I once again I am saying that it is not another tool to harass either the project entrepreneurs or to the real estate agents. It only facilitates you to perform much better and to gain much more confidence among the purchasers. It will ultimately, it will helps you in increasing your business. Like genuine project developers, whoever are there, it will be very helpful for them. And whoever does some mischiefs or things, then they have to suffer under RERA. So I think this is briefly about Telangana RERA. So as I said, the philosophy behind RERA, I have told you, saying that this will be very simple, a simple application which will be available on online. So there will be no questions will be asked. It will be purely self-declaration. So unless suppose some purchaser points out there is a mistake, so then the RERA will come into the picture. So it's more of a self-driven portal which we have developed. So I think hopefully next coming few minutes, then if any questions are there, then I'll further clarify them on that.
If any of the consultants do a little mischief, reminded me, जब मैं छोटा बच्चा था, थोड़ी शरारत करता था, रेरा पकड़ लेती थी आके. You know, I think that's what's going to happen. So absolutely fantastic, and thank you. I have a request to a lot of tables. I forgot to announce in the beginning that, there is a special award if you listen to all of this very carefully and not talk amongst yourself. And that award will be announced at the end of it. So I think the people whom I'm referring this to have understood. So thank you so much. The business in the last year and a half, except for the past few months, really has been very, very bad. Really has been extremely bad for most of the people. It started picking now. Business was bad for me also. I had bought a new car. I couldn't pay the EMI on the loan for almost 3 or 4 months. The bankers sent their goons to my home and they took away the car because I couldn't repay the loan. I mean, I wish I knew that the banking system, the loan system works this way. I would have taken a marriage loan well in advance, if that's how it was going to work really. So, now why do I say this? So let me come to Mr. Sunil Chandra Reddy, and who's the General Secretary at Treda and a Managing Partner at Sunil Constructions. Sir, the RERA is, on the non-RERA approved projects, the bankers are not giving any loans. There is a lot of inventory that's stuck up in the market. So from a developer's perspective, what is it that you are expecting in terms of RERA in Telangana and at the country level, and how do you think the realtors will face up to it and market it, and how will RERA react to it basically?
Obviously, when it was passed in 2016, all of us were quite shocked because we're already an over-regulated industry. Did we need more regulation? I'm sure most of us felt no. But then RERA is a reality. RERA is upon us. We need to work within the ambit of RERA. Of course, as developers, we are extremely grateful to the government of Telangana. Any act should favor both the purchasers and the developers. So I think to some extent the equilibrium has been restored in the state of Telangana. And bankers right now, unfortunately, are not extending any loans to non-registered RERA projects. Of course, in Telangana, it will be a reality from 1st of August. What we would like to request the powers that be is especially for the ongoing projects. Projects where approvals have been accorded after 1/1/2017. These projects are going to face some challenges because let's say I'm building 50 apartments, out of which 25 have been sold as per the non-RERA rules, and the balance 25 have to be sold as per the RERA rules. So we're also requesting the bankers to be a little more lenient, and we are obviously going to appeal to the government also to treat the ongoing projects a little less lightly than they would treat other projects going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You know, my son told me one day, Dad, you were so dumb 4 years back that I'm absolutely impressed the way you have matured and grown in the last 4 years. You know, generally we tell our kids, but today kids tell us that. Why am I saying this? For a simple reason, that in our industry, we absolutely have no option but to continuously learn and evolve. And I think all of you sitting in this room are a great example of learning and evolving from here. Amongst us, in our panelists, we have one gentleman who has learned and evolved so much and continues to teach and learn. He is doing so much for RERA on behalf of NAR India and for all of us that even before I address a question to him, can I request absolute applause for Mr. Ravi Varma, the chairman of NAR India, please. Sir, I believe while everything new brings in a lot of good, does bring in a bit of not so good with it, which needs to be improved and discussed. But I am personally extremely glad that whether you all believe or not, RERA is the first organization that has actually given all of us at Real Estate Fraternity industry recognition status. So we need to be thankful to them for that. But you have been meeting people at Maharashtra RERA as well as at the RERA at the center, addressing the issues on a little more advanced stage, because Telangana it's just being introduced, but on a more advanced stage, the issues that we are facing, like one state, one license, the license fee, the partnership versus proprietorship issues, and where are we headed now on the next steps with RERA, both at the center and the state level, and what would you advise all the people to address to their state RERAs respectively?
The RERA Act has brought singular transparency and accountability to an industry which was used to laissez-faire. And I think this is the first step that will not only organize the industry and make us accountable, it will also bring credibility, fairness to consumers, which was never there. And in the long term, it's the best thing that could have happened to the industry. Regarding the apprehensions, since Telangana has not yet rolled it out, let me assure you that most of the protocols and systems are very simple. We were apprehensive whether we will be able to all register. It's the simplest thing to do is to register with RERA. Not only do we need to register as agents, but builders need to register as builders. Project has to be registered, and we need to be registered with the project. And only then can we sell the project. It's very simple, nothing to be apprehensive about or scared about, but we do need to know that if there are any transgressions, that is, if we oversell or misrepresent, then the penalties are very, very severe. 10,000 rupees a day, leading up to 5% of the price of the product. And if you don't then adhere to the appellate tribunal's orders, it can scale up to 10% or 1 year in jail. Now, these are the same penalties that are applicable to the building community, that is the producers. Our submission to the center is, let me tell you the good news. The good news is that they are willing to listen to us. At the advisory council, every stakeholder is represented and every stakeholder has been given a voice. At the end of the first meeting, the Honorable Minister said that, look, the child has just been born, please don't come and tell us that the nose is not right and that the eyes are crooked and so on and so forth. We'll address all your issues, but they give us some time. He also advised his assistants to go to every zone and take feedback on what are the difficulties being faced by the people who are affected and the people who are beneficiaries or so-called beneficiaries, which is the customer. Let me give you an example. In Maharashtra, in the past 1 year, we have had over 2,000 complaints against the building community. Out of these 2,000 complaints, more than 700 complaints have been adhered to. Now, if there is a complaint, it is supposed to be registered, supposed to be addressed within 60 days. There is a RERA chairman in every state. Maharashtra has the most dynamic chairman in Gautam Chatterjee, who has done exemplary work. And of the awards that have been given by the appellate tribunal, 79% have been against the building community. Now, this is a temporary phenomena. As we get used to the act and as we increase the bandwidth to administer and to take care of consumer complaints, we will get better at doing these things. 18% of the awards by the appellate tribunal have been against consumers, that consumers have given wrong complaints and they've been pulled up. 3%, there has been no decision. It's been a neutral award. So this is for a state that has been practicing it for a while. The other thing is that what cannot be done at the center, there are solutions at the state level. We have been told that please, we have a couple of very serious complaints against the center on this act. One of them is that we want one registration across the country. Every profession has it. Now, since we are giving multi-city solutions to many of our clients, we have requested for one registration across the country. Even if you make a representation orally, it says. Now, a customer, if he's not happy with you or doesn't want to pay you commission and says that you had orally committed to him that the project will be completed in 1.5 years, now it has taken 2 years, therefore you are the person who has oversold the project and therefore you should be penalized. Now, we have requested that please remove the word orally. If there is any evidence, it should be written evidence. It cannot be oral evidence because then it leads to malpractice. Now, the ministry has explained to us that even if we change a comma or a full stop, it amounts to amendment of the act. Now, this being the case, they say that there is a whole process. You got to go back to the parliament for any amendment. However, we have found solution at the local Maharashtra state level, where we have a very compassionate, very fair and very even-handed chairman who listened to our complaints, said that what you are saying makes sense. Some injustice appears to have been done to you all. What we can do is, you bring a complaint to me. I will pass an order saying that this is unfair and should not be practiced. And once I pass such an order, it will be quoted in all other tribunal cases across the country. And therefore, you would have mitigated your problem of going to the parliament for amendments. Therefore, so there are problems and there are solutions. And if you look at the fine print of any act in the country, you will feel that you cannot do business. This, in a summation, is not a draconian act. Once we get used to it, it will help us get, even in the banking sector, it will help us get CF very easily, construction finance very easily, sir. You will agree, I hope. And those who are registered under RERA, they will be separated from the fly-by-night operators and the informal builders and agents who have been masquerading as our industry so far.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. 25 years of my marriage, and the TV crew found out that we had never once fought in 25 years. So they actually came to me to take an interview saying, we don't know of a couple who has never fought. So what is the secret behind it? And I told them the secret is very simple. There are small decisions in life and there are big decisions in life. And we've been clear on day one that my wife will take all the small decisions. I will not interfere. I will take all the big decisions and she will not intervene. And then they asked me, how do you really decide what's small and what's big? And I said, it's simple. Small decisions like which sofa to buy, which car to buy, which jewelry to buy, which house to buy. These are all tiny, small decisions. My wife takes the decision, I don't intervene. The big decisions are like, what should be the nuclear policy of India? Who should be the President of United States of America? Those kind of decisions only I take and they don't get in. Why am I quoting it now? Because of the next gentleman, Shri Sasi Sunkara, McKinsey. While we real estate guys keep taking all the big decisions, the small implementations are all done by companies like this advising to the government in the country. So, sir, my question to you is, we know the real estate fraternity's perspective, we know the government's perspective, we know the developer's perspective. What is it that is coming from top consultants like you who are driving the whole thing, and how do you perceive RERA and the whole market in terms of both the micro segment and the macro market, sir? Sir.
Thank you. First of all, good evening to all, and it's a pleasure to be on this panel as well as amongst all of you. As Samir, the moderator, has mentioned, I'm here to give a perspective as a customer of real estate industry and the product. I think for me it's fascinating to be in this debate around RERA. I'm eagerly looking forward to seeing what it will do and how it will change the balance of power in the real estate sector. As a consumer, and I have had the good fortune of dealing in real estate across a couple of states, and the bifurcation 4 years ago has made it more states by one more. I think the general sense I have is that in the real estate industry, the consumer is an afterthought. First, there is the project, then there is the land, then there is the agents, then there is the realtor, everybody. The consumer or the customer is probably right at the bottom of the pyramid, is someone who has little option or leeway in the matter when it comes to how he thinks he should be served or what he is buying. I have a small example to quote here. I have an agreement of sale for a product that I am keenly awaiting. When I look at the agreement of sale, there are so many clauses on the obligations of the purchaser. There's so many clauses on what obligations I have. There's so many things saying what will happen if I were to default on my payments, as and when the progress is made on the real estate project. But there's not a single clause on what the obligations of the builder are or the developer are in terms of timely delivery of the product. And there is no mention of what will happen or what I will stand to gain if there is a situation where the delivery timelines have slipped. Now I say that is totally, patently one-sided, and I'm hoping the advent of RERA balances the equation a bit, provides some sense of clarity to consumers on who they're dealing with, what to expect and when to expect it, because in some sense consumers deserve that right. Consumers should be able to plan their lives around a certainty on delivery, certainty around what will be delivered, and certainty around the quality of the final product that will be delivered. So I'm, from my end, quite eagerly looking forward to. I know in Telangana in particular it has been delayed, but it seems to be round the corner. Now, I don't know whether existing projects are covered, existing consumers are covered or not covered, but from my perspective, I would like to believe that RERA would help the industry grow up, help the industry become more professional, and ensure consumers deal with the industry ecosystem in the way they've come to expect industry to deliver, as in sectors like automotive, sectors like financial services, where regulators have been quite mature right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we give all our panelists a big round of applause, please? Fantastic. So I think we are going to run short of time. I'm going to throw the debate open to the audience to ask all the questions. The first question has already come to me, so I will ask. I can't ask any question from my own brain because I don't know if I forgot to tell you, my brain is a masterpiece. It seriously is. It has two components, the left and the right. The right has nothing left in it, and the left has nothing right in it. So I am not going to ask any questions. It's only going to be from the audience. One of the things is, what is the rules of the open plots for real estate agents? So I am not sure. There is a Mr. Ravindra Naidu who has asked this question. You could either raise your hands and mic will reach you to ask a quick short question, or you could write it down and give it to the people and it will reach me. So please interact. I would redraft this question a little more. Is something being done for secondary sales also to be brought under RERA?
As far as plots are concerned, plotting layouts are come under the Act. So all the provisions of RERA apply to a plotted layout also.
Wonderful.
Sir, excuse me. My name is Ravi Tagore. Sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, could you please explain what is the rules and regulations of open plat industry, and when it will come to the RERA Act, and what is the rules of open plat industry marketing agents? I am asking these three questions, sir. Could you please explain the questions?
I think he just answered that. For open plots or plotted developments, it will be a part of RERA. Actually speaking, any new project, whether it's plots, whether it's apartments, whether it's villas, will come under RERA. In fact, RERA has clarified anything which is more than 60% completed is the only one which will not go under RERA, and rest everything will come under RERA. Am I right, sir? Super.
So what obligations will come, sir? When we are approaching to the customer, what obligations will come to the in future based on the RERA Act? My question is asking about the real estate agents. So what obligations will face in future as per RERA Act?
See, what the Act says is that the agent should represent exactly what the prospectus or the brochure of the builder he is selling for says. Do not say anything more or less. If you are correctly representing what you are selling, what duration it will take to complete, what are the specifications. If you are correctly representing, then you have nothing to fear. The way forward for agents is that do not communicate anything verbally. Whatever you are communicating with your customers, please do it in writing. And read it once before you send it to the customer and see that whatever is represented in the brochure of the product, you say only that much. If it says 4-year delivery, don't say 3 years delivery.
Okay.
If you correctly represent, you have nothing to fear. Have I answered your question?
Thank you very much, sir.
You mean to
Samir,
say...
I will request everybody, you have the mic so you can ask the question, but Jitu, I can see your hands up. And like this, put your hands up, the mic will come to you. And please address your question to the concerned panelist you want them to respond. Please.
Samir, just a clarification. The gentleman asked about the applicability. You mentioned about 60% complete and all. In the state of Telangana, if the layout is approved after 1/1/2017, then it comes within the purview of RERA.
Okay.
If it was approved prior to that, it does not come within the purview of RERA. Thank you.
Super. Super.
What do you think threats and opportunities for the realtors post RERA, basically after 1st of August, what are the threats and opportunities vis-a-vis the present situation? And what is the Telangana RERA body planning to do in terms of bringing more transparency or any kind of activities that they are planning to bring more professionalism in this industry in Hyderabad, in Telangana as such?
What is the first one? I didn't get it.
Fees, registration fees.
Okay. As far as the Telangana state is concerned, registration fee for individuals is 10,000 rupees. If it is a partnership firm, it is 50,000.
50,000.
So that is, duration is about 5 years. So after 5 years, you have to renewal. And renewal will be like half of that. 5,000 for the individuals and 25,000 for the partnership firm. Benefits, I think the tag of RERA registered agent itself will be a big benefit for you, I think. Slowly it's going to pick up like RERA registered projects. People are started advertising. I saw in Mumbai actually when we visited. So many of the projects and even the agents, they were saying that it is a RERA registered project and he is a RERA registered agent. So definitely I think in the long run, definitely it will going to help you. Then the third one, I just forgot.
So it was like any kind of say like training or anything that will bring more professionalism. Because what you will be charging, we are paying the registration fee. So is there any kind of activities that is planned to bring in more kind of professionalism?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, before coming to here, actually even I was surprised. I was always thinking that the real estate agency is much more disorganized. So I never thought that there will be so much organized forum. So definitely we are in touch with many of the builders association, but in future definitely we will try to be part of, we will take you also into confidence, and also we will, we are going to have some stakeholder workshops. Actually, once the portal is ready, so maybe next week or maybe 3rd week of July, so definitely we will have a exclusive session for you for the real estate agents, like how to register and all those things. So we would like to do that.
Why can't we have a single license like an insurance agent? And I think that's already been discussed, but you could talk about it, sir.
See, this was what I think Ravi had also mentioned. One registration, one India. I think in terms of rhetoric, it sounds very nice. But in reality, I don't think that will ever happen, because India is a federal political system, and real estate is something where you have land and building attached to land, and therefore states also have a say, and therefore it is not possible for the central government to impose upon the states and say that all state governments will charge only a particular amount of money. States do have the freedom to charge more or charge less. That is number one. And number two, you just can't have one registration. It is all the states who have the state legislation and then the state charging and so on and so forth. So it is a wishful thinking that we need to have one registration for the entire country, one standard fee for the entire country. I don't think that is really going to happen. But then in some states, like in the state of Haryana, if the charges are exorbitant, most certainly you can make an appeal to the concerned real estate regulatory authority. By the way, in many states, the authorities are yet to be set up. They have not been set up as yet. But once the authorities are set up, you only have interim authorities in many states as of now. So you can certainly lodge a complaint there, and certainly if they feel that 2.5 lakhs, I do agree, 2.5 lakhs is just too much. So maybe they will bring it down to a reasonable level. But I'm very sure that it's going to happen state-wise.
Just to amplify what Doctor has just said, he's right that land basically is a state subject, and therefore they want everybody to be registered in the state that they practice. But the dynamics of our market has changed so much now that almost everybody is giving multi-city or multi-state solutions, and therefore it becomes very exorbitant. So we will have to continuously lobby to see that the overall impact of registration is not so exorbitant that we don't become agents at all or realtors at all. But one way is that the more numbers we have, the more the government will listen to us. And therefore, the people who have not really joined an association, please do that, because the numbers that we have determine how much you are going to be heard. CREA is always heard because they have numbers across 180 cities, if I'm not wrong. Yeah? Yeah. So there is Naredco, there is CREA, there are so many associations that are simultaneously lobbying.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you.
One question here, sir.
Jitu, yeah. Can the mic reach him?
I'm here with the mic here. Good evening. Could you see me?
Yeah, sure, please.
My question to the panel. Good evening, sir. We wanted to understand the scope of coverage of RERA. Does it also cover farmlands, farmhouses, and farm plots? Because predominantly, these are more of agri-based projects, which do not have those kind of amenities required for a plotting venture.
Can I take this?
Please, sir.
See, there is a clear mention in the Central RERA Act and also in most of the state RERA Acts. There is a jurisdiction that is specified for the city. As you know, you will have a municipal corporation boundary, and beyond the municipal corporation boundary, you have a planning area boundary. So all projects that fall within the planning area boundary are covered under RERA. If you go beyond that boundary, the projects are not covered under RERA. So for the state
8 kilometers radius, which is there generally for taxation purpose, 8 kilometers beyond municipalities, what is the general norm for taxation of agri and non-agri lands?
Yeah.
Similar thing is to be the same is applied, or some other norms are there?
In the Real Estate Regulatory Act, it is clearly mentioned that projects which are beyond the planning area of the particular city, it doesn't apply. So in the case of Telangana, I think you can clarify, if it is Hyderabad, then Hyderabad has a planning area.
I think in all Hyderabad Metropolitan Development Authority, within the Hyderabad Metropolitan Development Authority, and all the municipalities in the state. So within that boundary, whatever the projects, whether it is plotted development, whether it is a housing or whether it is a farmhouse development, it will come under RERA.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
If it is within, it will come. If it is outside, it will not come. It is as
Hello?
simple.
Hello.
Can I request that the mic reaches Jitu?
Yeah, meanwhile, excuse me.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second. I think Jitu, you can go ahead with the question.
Just that amplifying the questions asked by the gentleman, because in Bhubaneswar, RERA is already implemented. What we have seen, the tremendous, so is there any, because as far as RERA is concerned, so they have certain kind of norms called deemed approval. I mean, if they fail within certain time, because we have n number of projects, they are taking a lot of time. I mean, where it's difficult for the builders to take off the project even if they are within the legal frame, and difficult definitely for the realtors, even if we are registered, we are not able to market that project because of the long timeline. My questions to Mr. Ravi Varma, is there any solutions for that?
When they get the sanction, they are supposed to declare to the authorities that how long are they going to take to complete the project. So all penalties start from the time that, I can't see you, Jitu, because they are covering you. So all penalties start from the day of completion given by the developer to the authorities at the time of getting the sanction. So if you have said, for example, that I will complete the project in 3 years. Now, if you say that I'll complete the project in 7 years, you have the latitude to say that. But when you say I'll complete the project in 7 years, it will not sell. Can't hear you, sorry.
Okay, Jitu sir and Ravi sir, we are...
So my question is, and all that project is submitted for RERA approval. I mean, RERA people are not that organized to deliver the projects. I mean, to certify the projects, and they are taking longer time because of less of manpower and infrastructure. Suppose there they have the timeline of 2 months, 1 month or something like that, and I have 200 number of projects. So there, because it has been seen, the around the projects are not able to be a marketable stage. Even if they are, everything is ready, they are not able to market because of non-registration of RERA. So how do you address these questions, and how long they will take?
It has to be approved within 30 days.
Correct.
Right? Just in case it is not approved, then the rejection has to be given in writing, and the reason for rejection also has to be given to you. So in most cases, the 30 days is the approval time. You can take it as deemed approval beyond 30 days.
We are trying to get the people who sanction also under RERA. That is one of the demands of the building community, that they are not accountable. They are the ones who are responsible for delay. Like, they will not come for pling checking, they will not come for slab checking, and therefore the project can also get delayed. So they should also be brought under RERA. That is one of the demands of the building community.
Superb. Superb.
The RERA regulatory or the things are for the product where the customer purchases, and if there is any problem, the RERA takes care of it. However, the problem from where it comes, I suggest that RERA should also get involved into the management of how these realtors and developers manage their workforce. Because from there, the false promises and other things come up. It is like the customer is taken for granted. Similarly, the workforce is also taken for granted. So somewhere or the other, RERA also should get involved, if possible, to also see if the workforce of all the realtors and developers are well trained and are doing the work properly.
Even if you want it, it's just not possible for the government to get into every part of your business. Yes, you need training. So there are organizations like the HRA or the NAR India or whatever. Every state, every city, you have these organizations. They'll be training. And whether it is your project management, how you manage your labor, how you manage your finances, that is your internal business issue. So I don't think the government should get too much into this. So I think I'll just leave it like that.
Appreciate it, sir. I think we have room for one last question.
The RERA rule is not elaborative on an act that whether a real estate consultant can represent both buyer and the seller in the same transaction. Even though it says, it uses a singular the word saying that a customer. So I would like to know whether a real estate consultant can represent both buyer and seller. Officially, is it allowed? My second question is to Mr. Reddy, the official from GHMC. Post RERA registration, do we require to obtain a trade license? There is a confusion here because I'm also paying a professional tax. So do I require to obtain a trade license? That's what.
The trade license, I think it's a separate thing. So you have to take a trade license separately. I don't think you can both combinedly together. Because the RERA is nothing to do with GHMC. It's a separate entity as such. So it's an independent body. It's a quasi-judicial body, so the local body is different. So I don't think we can really combine both the things.
Buyer and seller, both or one. But what we are trying to do, there is a model agreement being drafted by KPMG for RERA, for Maharashtra. And that will become a template for the rest of the states, we hope. And we will, of course, aggressively promote that they adopt that. That when we register the property, just as the builder is being paid, the real estate agent should also be paid on the same day. We are trying to get that incorporated. We've been promised it will be done, but and it is silent on who you can represent. In India, we have always represented both. I don't think government wants to go that route.
Let me add a little different perspective to it because as a part of our association in Bangalore and Karnataka, we've also addressed this. However, the RERA authority there is very clear that RERA as of now is applicable only for primary sales and not for secondary. So question of a buyer and seller does not arise. The payments in the primary are being made by the builder to the agent, so the relationship lies there only basically. However, it's the consumer interest which has to be protected. That was the clarification given.
Sir, one question, sir, please.
Last.
All right, the last question, please.
Here, sir.
Sir, my question is to Devendar Reddy, sir, regarding GHMC, HMDA, Hyderabad growth corridor. Can you please elaborate, sir? Like within 100 kilometers radius, it is going to be a growth corridor of Hyderabad. So please clarify on that.
So includes that HMDA complete that 7,000 square kilometers of area. So will be part of RERA. Any project which takes up in those area, so it has to be registered with RERA. The projects which have been sanctioned from 1/1/2017.